Welcome to Growing Up Boomer. I'm your host, Padre, with my co-host, Professor. And this podcast is dedicated to the life and times of the baby boomer generation. The show is loosely scripted, and sometimes we'll go down rabbit holes, and where it leads us to, one will never know. This podcast can be informative, funny, and sometimes irreverent. But most of all, we hope you find it entertaining. Hey, Professor, how's it going, my man?
Well, last week we did, music of the 60s and band didn't make it. Okay. You remember, do you believe in magic?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wishing for my Giants. Magic, babe. Magic.
It'll happen. Don't worry
I
about
don't, whatever. Anyway, that's it. Other
Yeah,
than that, I'm good.
don't worry about it. They'll get in.
Yeah.
Have faith.
Well, they won't. They will or they won't.
Yeah.
There's a song. They will or that you will or they won't. Whatever. Never mind.
Oh, okay. By the way, today's podcast is going to be about work habits that you and I grew up with during our time of working that have no longer exist or they're disappeared. People think that we're crazy that we even did this. But having said that, there's an interesting. I was reading a article on LinkedIn, and it talked about the new, starting in Silicon Valley, the 9-9-6. And this is a work habit that you work from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, 6 days a week.
Okay.
That's our schedule. That's what we as baby boomers used to do.
Okay, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
9 to 9, 6 days a week.
Yep.
They better be getting paid some big bucks.
Who doesn't get paid big bucks in Silicon Valley?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question.
The reason why they're looking at that is because apparently they do this quite often in China. That's their schedules in China, and I guess they're trying to keep up. The way they're noticing is that the companies are all of a sudden on the week, like on Saturdays and during the week, they're ordering food in for the employees. It sounds like it's more like they're getting back into that work ethic. And since we're going to talk about work ethics or work habits, they're getting back into that. Think about that 9 to 9. You don't have a life. You go home, take a shower, and then you're in bed.
And China can get away with that. U.S., that's not going to catch on. Unless you're paying a lot of good money. Yeah, and I like really good money. Well, so we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. But do you remember? I hope you and I we were. Were you? You were in different businesses, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I was. I was in the veterinary business for 11 years, and then I was in land sales and timeshare sales and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I got into loans for 38 years.
Yeah. I was into retail my entire life.
Right.
Yeah, I was, either working in the store or in the main office or whatever. Right. It was one of those things that I had decided to. I like I said, retail is kind of one of those occupations. Is like Denny's. Okay, you don't plan to go into retail; you just end up there.
Okay. You don't plan to go to Denny's; you end up there.
Yeah, I don't make reservations at Denny's. It's like, hey, it's the only thing open. I'm going in.
Yeah. Well, you say that. I didn't plan on going into sales. Yeah. Okay. It just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just one of those things, and I didn't plan on getting into the mortgage business. But it just happened. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You just never know what goes on.
You never know. You never know. But there definitely were habits and stuff that you and I, were took to heart. Okay. Either because that's who we were, or that was what was going on at the time, or that was expected by the higher ups. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, first one, you always had a dress code.
Yes, there was a dress code. I'm thinking about for me. Well, in the veterinary business, it wasn't really a dress code. Okay, as far as that's concerned, that I recall. in retail, yes, I get that, because if you're in retail, typically your customers and so on, so you're front facing. I mean, I'm I'm trying to remember what I wore. Well, I used to wear scrubs.
Yeah, I was going to say scrubs,
so,
right?
yeah, I had to think about that for a second. I wore scrubs, so that was my dress code, if you will.
Yeah.
So you're right. Okay, even back then. But once I got into sales, you need to look presentable, but there was no thing. Once I got in the mortgage industry, different story. So, and we'll get there. That's where you're talking about dress codes and suits. That's where the suits came in. And as you remember, I was always jacket and tie, suit and tie, polished shoes. We talked about that in the past about polishing shoes, and rarely did I get a shoe shine. I always did my own shoes. So yeah, okay. And I don't know Gen Zers and all the kids now. I don't think they go by that at all.
Because you retired not too long ago, am I right?
Right.
All right. Does the dress code in the mortgage business the same as it was when you were coming up? Okay.
No. In the last, I think actually, I had already started changing out of the tie. I would start to wear different stuff. Okay. It was good stuff, whether it was nice Hawaiian shirts, or I might wear, a jacket but no tie, stuff like that. And then, and the latter years, I end up wearing, a logo wear. Okay. Company wear, logo wear. So it did change. But in the beginning, no, it was, no, I was always dressed. Yeah.
Dressed in the what you call it? Like you said, the logo stuff, swag or whatever, right?
Yeah, swag. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's what happened. Probably starting with me. It probably started in the early 2000s, where we could just go wear a polo shirt. We used to call it a business casual into the office.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yes, it took me a while. I mean, business casual came in before I took it on. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a latecomer because I just felt that I needed to project, a banking type of image. So that's what I did. And in the later years, then I started getting into business casual. Of course, there used to become Casual Fridays. That started to catch on. Once that cat caught on, then it was Casual Thursday, Fridays, Monday through Friday, and then it's just casual.
Just casual.
It's just casual. Yeah. That was something else. Yeah. The one thing that that's really changed, and of course, by the way, the pandemic. Okay, when everybody's not even in the office, that changed things too, big time. Pretty much on a universal thing. But handwritten memos was another thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I struggled with that because my handwriting is horrible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but still, there's a lot of handwriting stuff that we had to do back then. Memos are flying around. They could be formal, they're official. And by the way, if you got it in writing in your hand, it was received.
Yeah.
Okay. There was none of this Ethernet stuff, internet stuff where, we wouldn't do it. So there wasn't email, there wasn't Teams, none of the stuff that they have these days.
On emails, there was two ways that I would track emails. All right. First of all, I could track it if somebody opened it. If I sent it to somebody, it would come back and said they opened it. That's a number one.
Okay, because you set your settings that way.
You got it. Number two, I'd always start the email with a funny story.
Okay.
Okay, like for instance, one was we were promoting one of the. It was brand new. It was like a work scarf for contractors that you could soak in the water and put around your neck because it was very hot. And I said it's going to be so hot that dogs are not chasing cats. That's how hot. And then they would go, we didn't receive that memo or that email. I said, do you remember the email about the dogs and the cats? Oh, that was really funny.
Yeah.
then you got it. Okay.
Yeah. 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 That was your way of catching them.
There, you got
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if anything, everybody would always say, "Oh, they never got a hold of us." That's what they would tell the
Yeah.
general manager, and I would
Yeah.
blind CC the general manager, so that way he would get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I can't get it by Joe.
yeah.
No. No.
Oh
No.
yeah.
No. No.
And the other thing is, I always did a lot of handwriting because you're right. My handwriting was not stellar, but I printed a lot because I wanted to be an electronic engineer, and you had to take drafting because there was
Hmm.
no CAD system, so you had to make sure that everything was printed
Right.
properly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
everything I
Right.
wrote was printed properly. It might have been misspelled, but I could read it.
That's a different story. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I am a product of the LA Unified School District. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That wasn't a habit back then. Spelling correctly. It
yeah.
was a desire, but it wasn't a habit.
Oh, by the way, the one thing I used to do too, and they don't do, I used to do productivity journals. So every
Okay.
day you would make a list of what you wanted to get done.
Sure.
Then you would line it out, right? The things you got done, and then you would move the stuff you didn't get done to the next day. And then on a separate page, I would write down what I could do to make it better. In other words, the thing I got done, I could have done this, it would have cut my time by this. And the next time I came to it, that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
You're
basically,
constantly evaluating and changing. Yeah.
absolutely, because everything's the same basically.
Yeah.
You know, in my job, everything was basically the same. How can I make it work better? And
Right.
that's what I
Yeah.
always did. So, so
Yeah.
I was used to writing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
you remember the paper filing system?
Oh, I was so happy when we got rid of that and the internet. Okay, I would have files all in my on my emails,
Uh-huh.
and if anybody wanted to know anything, they would come to me because I'd have every file, under the sun. They said, "Hey, did
Well,
we ever deal with this company?" I said, "We sure did." And somehow I would remember, and I just tap it in. I said, "Here it is. Here's the email." "Oh, we don't want to deal with them." I said, "That's right, you don't."
well, I live with files in the veterinary business.
Oh,
We had a
yeah.
file of every dog or cat or bird or whatever it is that we were seeing. Okay. In the sales business, not so much. As far as that, but in the mortgage industry, I mean, you've been I had file cabinets after file cabinets after file cabinets full of files. Okay. I mean, so many. I had files down in the basement because you had to keep everything for so many years,
Right.
So yes, the electronic stuff has been wonderful. That's been a great change.
Yeah.
I agree with you there.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, that was just so awful, man. There was just so much stuff there. It was unbelievable. And along to go with that, everything was manually data entry.
That's right. Okay. Okay. Yep. You had to type it in or enter
Yeah.
it somehow. Yep.
Oh golly, that was unbelievable. And then
Yep.
what's so funny is that you and I grew up in the transition from analog to digital,
Right.
and some of the old stuff, like dial-up internet.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Right? It used to take forever.
Oh, that was so frustrating.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was so cool that you can get online, but boy, it took forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, you're right. It would take forever. But you know what? With everything now, with AI and all that, this is so much easier.
I know now.
So
I mean,
much
yeah, but
easier.
it's me. It will be interesting to see how this AI affects things. I've been reading a fair amount of it, and this is another transition. We
Oh yeah, yeah,
went from wood to oil.
yeah.
Okay, oil to wherever. I mean, just to the internet. Okay, AI. This is a major change that's coming,
Yeah.
and we have no idea how it's really going to affect
Well,
us positively or negatively at this particular point. So, yeah.
all I can tell you is it probably won't affect us.
Well, you know what? We're going to be living long enough. It'll affect us in some way.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
In 20 years, if we're lucky enough to be around, we'll be in the rest home drooling on ourselves. You're like,
Okay, and then AI will but AI will
Yeah.
probably have a camera there watching us, okay, and
Uh-huh.
interpreting all that stuff, okay, and deciding whether or not they should contact help. Okay.
Well, let's put it this way, okay? I am so boring. If anybody's watching, it's going to put AI to sleep. It's like, oh golly, this guy, he's a cure for insomnia.
Yeah. This is way off topic, but bear with me, okay? Because we're kind of. I just thought about it. I made a transition to medical,
right?
Because AI is absolutely getting involved in the medical field, diagnoses and so on and so forth. I just read an article today. This is crazy about a tooth in an eye surgery, which returned vision to 9 different people. And what they did, amazingly, okay, you have to have a healthy optic nerve, but the cornea up front, okay, whatever. They take a tooth, okay, they file it, they do what they do with it. They implant it right under here, and over the course of time, it develops tissue around it, and they cut a hole in it, and they put a lens in it, and they embed it in your eye, okay? And now there's a lens that can convert the stimuli, okay, and it hits the optic nerve, and it brought vision back. Now, is that amazing?
That is amazing.
That is amazing. Now, what were we talking about? Let's see. Where are answering machines?
Answering machine. We go from answering machines to fixing sight.
Sorry.
Oh God.
I just thought that was so. It was just. Anyway, answering machines.
Yeah.
Okay, all sorts of different answering machines. The tape machine.
Yeah.
That you had to rewind it every single time. And it would beep and so on. Yeah. Then they went
blinking light. You remember the blinking light?
The blinking lights. Okay, then they kind of went to the digital ones.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh sure.
And yeah, or you hear, well, I mean, you kind of hear it with voicemail now too.
Yeah.
Okay, but it would be a robotic voice. Okay, back then that would say whatever, and now you could do it in your own voice. Okay, you'd rush home to check your messages, and now you don't have to worry about it because you got your phone with you.
Oh yeah.
So you can get the messages, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Okay, the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
It's we got voicemail, email. It's we're so cumbersome back then. So
yeah, I know it.
I think they still sell answering machines. I think they do.
You might be. Yeah, they sell them to baby boomers.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Who else has a landline?
I will not do email. I only want an answer machine. I don't have a cell phone.
I know it. Oh golly. Oh, this was big time in retail if you were upper management. The long lunch breaks.
Well, I remember them from the time when I worked for an advertising agency in Manhattan. It was like one of my first jobs. Actually, probably my first real job.
Yeah.
And long lunches, and they used to head out, come back a couple hours later with a few, vodkas or
well, that's
whatever,
what I was going to say. It was liquid lunches.
It was lots of times the liquid lunches. And I must say that in my earlier years in the mortgage industry, we would have a few liquid lunches and go out, have a glass of wine or two and enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I would remember I'd go to the general manager because I wanted to do a few things differently. Right. So I would go in the afternoon and I'd say, you know what, I'm thinking we ought to move this over to here. I think, that the profit margin on this item is better than here. So we need to move it. He says, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Do it. He come in the next morning and he says, who in the hell moved this stuff around?
Right.
And
I know.
I did. You said it was okay. He says, when did you tell me? He says, about 3:00. He says, never to ask me anything after lunch.
Yeah. I know. In my company, I oft times. I mean, people start eat lunch at your desk. I did it all the time.
Yes. Yeah, I
agree. My employees did it all the time, and I had to make them take breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't want them to burn out.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to take a break, go out for air, do something. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it just isn't good to sit at a desk all day. So. Yeah, I encourage him to get up and move around and do some stuff. But, things changed. You don't have those long lunches anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, of course, I have as long a lunch as I want now.
Yeah.
So
we are just one big lunch now.
One big lunch. Yeah, I don't have a liquid lunch. And if I have a liquid lunch, it's with apple juice or
there you go.
Water, something like that.
Water.
Yeah. Now, I'm trying to think. I never experienced this in my career, but the typing pools.
Yeah, we had them in our main office.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Yeah. Everything would go there. And the problem was with my crew is that they would write these huge, long memos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And take them to the typing pool, and they would type them up, and I'm going like I'm reading pay. And I am one guy that says, give me the facts. I want bullet points. That's it. Okay? So I said, forget it. And I told the typing pool, you ain't typing anything for my crew. They'll type it themselves. And they said, and so they would go up there and says, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ariza says you have to do. I had the shortest emails ever. Not emails, but the shortest memos, because they would do, if they had to type it, they made sure that I said, all I want are the bullet points of what's going on, where are we at on the project, what do we need to finish this project? Are we running behind? Don't give me this elaborate thing because, you've got somebody typing it for you.
Yeah, I like the bullet points too. Yeah, absolutely. Just get to the point. Yeah. But back in the typing pool days, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%, but probably 95% of them were women. Okay. Yeah. And they, when you really think about it, okay, they were the unsung heroes in keeping companies and corporations together, right? Because they had to get that stuff out, had to be done accurately, and so on. Oh,
absolutely, you're right.
Yep. But now everybody does their own stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but those are the billionaires or millionaires or whatever. Okay, but pretty much, people do their own emails. So yeah. So I don't know if there's any more typing pools.
I doubt it. I mean, you could record. Yeah. You could record an email these days.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
How lazy can we get? Yeah. How about desk phones?
Oh yeah.
Especially the rotary desk phones.
Yeah. Well, see, that's one thing that we've lost in business. Now that this kind of everything cellular is slamming the phone for effect. When somebody gets you upset, boom, and then everybody in the office just goes quiet.
Yeah.
Says, oh, and it's going to get back to the vendor. He slammed the phone on you. Oh, he's upset.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, especially if you're in a pool in a setting with a lot of phones and stuff in one area. Okay, there were so many distractions. You're right. People talking on it, number one. Yeah. Or slamming it down, number two. Of course, days with the rotary phones. Yeah. Over here, over there, behind you. All that kind of stuff.
That was something. Yeah. And you know what? This next one here. Okay.
Well, I cannot believe. Oh, I'm sorry. Back up a second. Yeah. Back up a second. So, at the lab where I was working just recently, I told you about that. Okay. I actually had a desk phone. Okay. It was, voice over internet protocol. It was different, so on. What do you think I used? Desk phone or my cell phone?
Your cell phone.
Absolutely. Yeah. What am I going to use a desk phone for? Okay. I mean, theoretically, I could have picked it up and hung it up hard, but okay. Just cell phone, it's just so much easier to do that.
Well, not only that, it keeps you track of who you called and when you called.
Yeah, well, the modern phones can do that too. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but it's on your phone right there. Just, recent calls. Oh, there. Okay, I see that. What was the other one that, getting back, and this is it killed me because, I retired and I worked a little bit longer than I should have. And then what ended up happening, I wanted to work another 10 years.
Right. And I remember.
That did not go over well. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I said, I still got 10 good years left in me. The wife said, I want those 10 years.
Yeah.
Retire. And I said, okay. But we were still faxing documents.
Yeah.
I used to tell them, I said, why don't we just scan it and send it to, a PDF? Right. Oh, no, we have to have it faxed.
I know some companies still do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are we, dinosaurs?
Yeah. Well, okay, our dinosaurs. Although, okay, for somebody who is at home, okay, I'm trying to think of recently, I actually had to fax something.
Yeah.
Okay, I did a couple times recently. I would scan it into my machine, okay, but they required a fax, so I faxed it to them. Okay, so yeah, it's not common, okay, to say the least, but there's still fax machines out there. People still use it, just not as much. It's so much easier to do it, and sending it in PDF, that's a much better way to do it. Yeah. And of course, you could store everything. That's going back to paper files. Yeah. Because if you used to fax, you still had to keep those.
That's right.
But now if you scan them, you can just keep it online.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Cloud.
Forever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this exists much anymore. It probably does. Maybe in factories, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, punching a time clock.
Yeah, I think
I
it's,
mean,
yeah,
literal time clock.
yeah. I don't know about an old one, but certainly they use computers now where you have to type in and put in your
They do it
time.
in office
Yeah,
settings. Yeah, you have to do
yeah.
that. But if you're in a, I think I'm not thinking that people, I wonder what they do at like Costco as an example.
Hmm.
Okay, what people log in, or GM,
Hmm.
you know, Auto Factory, or their
Right,
factories. Okay,
right. Hmm.
you have to log. Maybe you do. Maybe you have to walk in and you have to key
Yeah.
in. I mean, I don't know,
Well,
but
I
it
will
used
tell
to
you,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will tell you this, where I was, which is of course retail, and of
Right.
course the main the lot of warehouses where we didn't have punch clocks. It was all computer. So you
Okay.
put in your employee number and say, okay, I'm in at this
Okay.
time and stuff like
Okay.
that. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like punching, but it isn't the old the actual
Right.
where they actually punch the card.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the mortgage side of it. Okay, they had to turn in time cards.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
didn't punch a clock, but they had to turn in the cards.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, it was all manual, but now it's pretty much just like you just log in
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
done. Yeah, absolutely. Now another one which I'm glad isn't around anymore is smoking in the
Yeah.
office.
That was big time when I was
I
working.
remember that ad agency that I said that I worked in.
Hmm.
Man, was it smoky in there! Holy moly, there's people smoke. Of course, in the '60s, everybody smoked,
Yeah. Yeah.
including myself.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was. I'm glad that's gone. Then we got some designated smoking areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and so on. That started to change things,
Hmm.
and then people really became aware of what's going on. And thank goodness it's gone now. I mean, you can't smoke in restaurants.
Yeah.
You can't smoke in 25 feet of a building in
Yeah.
California, and the same in Oregon. Yeah, it's changed.
Oh yeah. I used to
Thankfully,
like smoking sections and non-smoking sections in airplanes.
right? Yeah,
I'm
mhm,
going like, oh, so what? Does it stop right here? The smoke stops right here?
yeah,
It
yeah. Well, they
doesn't.
might have put up a plexiglass thing, but that didn't do anything.
No, they didn't have any plexiglass. They had it in
Okay, well,
restaurants. They didn't have them in planes.
no, no, no. I get well.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah,
that didn't do anything.
yeah. No, it doesn't do anything anyway. It was just a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, there was this one restaurant I went to. I was in Arizona, Kingman, Arizona. We're doing a store out there, and it didn't say non-smoking. You know, it says no guns allowed. I said, "Oh, so this is different." And I was
Yeah.
I was battling with a cold, and I ordered some hot tea with honey.
Hmm.
And so the woman brings me the tea,
Hmm.
and I said, "Where's the honey?" She says, "Oh, I thought you were calling me honey."
Yeah, yeah,
I said, "No,
yeah,
no, I want honey with my tea."
yeah, 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 yeah.
So, okay, I'm in a different environment here.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
I remember,
remember.
yeah. We used to, and then me and I remember a good buddy of mine that used to do the podcast. Well, we were in this office, I think it was California Hardware, and we had this big picture window, and the San Gabriel Mountains, you could drive to the top of that mountain in 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. That's how close they
Hmm.
were. The
Hmm.
smog was so bad you couldn't see it. You couldn't see the mountains. And then
I,
we
I'm
would say, well, we don't want to go out there. And I'd tell them, well, look at all the smoke in this office because
yeah,
we're up
yeah,
above, and everybody's smoking. I said,
yeah,
we get it no matter if we're in the office or out of the office.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember being in sales rooms
Mm-hmm.
and being a smoker, and
Yeah.
it was fine. And then I quit 40 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and now I just can't stand it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Mm-hmm.
sensitive. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that things have changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about bulletin boards? You remember those?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Bulletin boards. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, the big physical
Yeah.
bulletin boards, and
Physical
the
bulletin board,
memos
and you
would
have
be
to
on
tack.
there, company memos, and you'd have to, yeah, the tax, and you'd have
Tax,
to
yeah.
read it, and then
Yeah.
sometimes they made you sign it. There was little areas that you read it, and you'd have to sign it.
Yeah, yeah, you'd have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Hmm.
mean, I still see them sometimes. So, like if you go to some coffee shops or restaurants,
Yeah.
will have a community board.
Right, right.
Okay, so you can do stuff like that. But in office settings, I don't see bulletin boards. You might see grease boards,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that you
true.
mark but a lot of it is digital now and everything else. So
Yeah.
it's changed. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is still the same. The next one is like office politics with coffee
Well,
breaks.
there's always politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's always been that way.
There's always, that's not going to stop.
Networking,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
gossip, water
Yeah. Yeah.
cooler. I mean,
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, there could be networking, which is productive. There could be gossip, which certainly isn't. Okay.
that's
But,
what it usually is.
okay, but going,
Yeah.
meeting somebody for coffee, deals happen. Okay,
Mhm.
as far as that's concerned. Coffee chats, sure. There's a lot happens over. I mean, that happened with me in my career.
Mhm.
Okay, meeting somebody for coffee. Okay, and getting things done.
Mhm.
So that still happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
That absolutely. I don't think that's going to stop,
Yeah.
even though it's maybe changed, but
Uh-huh.
I think that still goes on. Of
Yeah.
course, now you could do some more stuff even digitally. You can have your little
Oh,
chats if you want
absolutely.
to do
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at is the fact that,
Yeah,
this was always, you'd have to have it physical. I mean, you'd have to be there
yeah.
and see
Yeah, we're
people
talking
and talk to
physically
them.
here.
And yeah,
Yeah.
no. I was never one for office politics.
Okay.
Yeah, they
I'm
would
trying to
split,
think of, yeah,
they would start
yeah,
something and I'd say, I don't want to hear it.
yeah.
Just leave me
I
alone.
wasn't too involved in that stuff either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, no,
So
no. Did you
now,
did you carry business cards?
um, well, not in the veterinary business.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, yes, I had business cards once I got into
Sure.
sales.
Yeah.
I had them until I still have stacks of them.
Hmm.
Okay, I haven't used because I don't need them anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I've thrown most of them away. Yeah,
Hmm.
I carry business cards all the time, but now people don't.
Yeah.
Okay, they communicate elsewise.
Yeah.
So yeah, yep,
I
yeah,
remember because we used to do a lot of business with foreign officials. When I
hmm,
say that, with companies, presidents, and stuff like that,
sure,
and especially when you're dealing with someone from Japan,
hmm, hmm.
business cards are number
Oh, no.
one, and how you hand it to
And
them.
how you hand it
You
to
got
them.
it.
Got to make
Yeah.
sure you look at it, look at both sides. Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
And then you
that,
hand
that,
it to them, and you're supposed to bow.
absolutely,
And if the man is of higher rank, you're supposed to bow lower than him.
exactly. Oh
And I
yeah,
remember meeting the president to at the company at the time was called Hitachi. Now it's Mandel.
I know Hitachi.
Yeah, Hitachi, but
Yeah, yeah,
they're no longer here.
right.
But I remember saying, okay, because they're giving us the protocol and stuff like that. He wanted to meet us because we bought so much stuff from them, and so he come in here and he says, remember, you need to bow lower
Hmm,
than this guy. This guy came, he couldn't have been more than 5'4". Okay?
huh.
And
Oh
I
yeah,
told my
yeah.
boss, I said, I don't think I could bow that low. I said,
But
I'm
you
six
tried,
two.
right?
Yeah, I'm 6'2". It says, I don't think I could bow that low.
Yeah, yeah,
But you're
yeah, yeah.
absolutely right. I mean, in certain cultures, it's still very prominent, and you're absolutely right. You have to be able to do, look at the card and hand it to him. You just don't throw it. You just don't flip it. You have to hand it both hands
Yeah.
or thumbs and hand it to him. And it's a very,
Yeah,
very,
interesting. I'm gonna have to ask my son-in-law because he is forming a business relationship with a company from Japan,
hmm.
and they came out to visit the lab a couple of times. I'm gonna have to ask him if that was it. My suspicions are no,
Hmm.
because they might be all U.S. based, and maybe they don't do that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I, I, I'd be curious to ask him.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah, and it depends if they're based in if their office, because they may be like, for instance, in Makita, they have a office in the United States, but when they come out from the main office in Japan, it's a completely different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure it's different.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember, and they know how to party. Okay, all
Which
right.
ones?
The Japanese know how to party. Okay,
Okay. All
we were
right.
having
Okay.
a 100-year anniversary for Makita, and they invited us because we bought so much stuff. I think we bought like
Okay.
I don't know $2 million from them or something to that
Okay.
effect.
Okay.
And so they invited us. It was someplace out in Pacific Palisades, and it was one of these Trump golf courses or whatever. I couldn't play because I just had my gallbladder out.
Oh,
But there was
okay.
no
I
way.
remember when that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. There
Yeah.
was no way I wasn't going out there because if I didn't want to take any of my sick days.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was 2 days after the operation, and they're going like, oh, we just thought you had your gallbladder out the other day. I said, I did. He says, man, you're like Iron Man. Yeah. I said, no. I don't want to take any of my sick days off. Okay. But I couldn't play golf, so that was too bad.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That was too bad. But business cards were big time. You remember, man? I mean, you would have boxes of those things.
Oh, absolutely. Hand them out all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Try to think of different ways to get them out.
Yeah.
I remember putting them in. I remember putting them in my bills because I always used to mail your bills.
Yeah.
You put them in there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Absolutely.
Put them all over the place.
Oh,
yeah, business card.
How about one more, because we're running a little long. How about this one?
Okay.
Manual payroll processing.
Yeah. Well,
did you ever have to do that?
I never. Did I actually have to do manual? Manual. No, I never had to do manual.
When I started in the business, we had to do that.
Yeah.
Because we had to take the punch cards, right? We collected all the punch cards, and then we have to manually enter it into the system so that people can get paid.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got to think about that. So there were times when I got the time cards. I used to add a payroll service. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I had to, but I did this electronically. I did it in their website, stuff like that. So I would have to key in the number of hours. They already had, the employee and the hourly rate. So I would just have to type in the hours. So that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
not manual.
You still have to manually put it in.
I would have to still do that. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Until it switched over when they logged in on their own. Then everything took care of itself magic.
Right. Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff we did that is like, golly, and people would think, you know what? If we told them what we used to do, they'd look at us like there's horns growing out of our ears.
Like dinosaurs, and you know what? We are that old.
Yeah.
So I mean, technology has certainly made life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Of course, it's made it more scary because of the intrusiveness, identity theft and all the other stuff, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot that goes with it, but generally speaking, it's brought the world closer. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe not in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, the 24-hour news. There's a lot of good, but there's a lot of stuff that probably isn't so good.
Well, that's just like anything else.
I know.
Yeah, just like anything else. There's good and there's bad. You just got to make the choice. Do I do the good thing or do I do the bad thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
It all comes down to that.
And that's not going to change.
Yeah. And you know what? And you know why I know that? Because I watch John Wick movies.
Oh, there you are in the know.
And that's the line in the movies. We all make choices, but there's always consequences to the choices we make.
Absolutely. And that's not going to change.
Yeah. See, you learn something from those kind of movies.
I think I already knew that, but thank you for reminding me. Funny.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. You and I both kind of like you ride an exercise bike, right? I'm assuming you do, or you work out.
No. I do a treadmill. Although lately I've been hiking.
Treadmill, yeah.
I just go from the house. I go in 5 Mile House, just my house.
Yeah. Well, I do it's a bike, ones you sit back and you.
Yeah, recombinant one.
I watch all my movies that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I do it for about an hour, and I'm watching right now. I'm going through the Fast and the Furious cycle, but not in release date. Okay.
Okay.
I'm doing it by proper timeline.
Okay. That's different. Yeah, that's like if you're going to do Star Wars. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Instead of coming out, you do it in the sequence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. Just stuff like that. Oh God.
Well, when the weather changes, I'll go back on my treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
But now I do it whatever. I'll bike ride or I'll hike.
Oh sure.
And I've really gotten into hiking lately. So yeah.
Oh, good man. Well, you know what, Professor, we're running a little long. What do you say we end this one, buddy?
Okay, we'll end it and then we'll pick up again next time.
All right, sounds good. Have a great one, okay?
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Right, bye-bye. We'd like to thank you for listening and remind you if you happen to have any baby boomer topics you'd like us to cover, just email us at growingupboomer@gmail.com. And until next time, may God bless.